I'm really excited about this season. This is really my first complete year, so I've been thankful to have these kids for an entire season now. I've gotten to know them a lot more. So last year that was tough coming in December and jumping really right into season and challenge them to compete. And I think this year we've gotten to do more team building things. We've gotten to know each other a lot better. I've gotten to challenge them differently. And I think that we've had a lot of conversations about being bought in and what we all want. And I've kind of challenged them to make this what they want it to be. And versus me challenging them just to compete and win all the time. I'm really excited. They're a tenured group. They're pretty amazing teammates to each other. They treat each other well. I just have a really great group. So they're tenured. They've been here for a while. I have a strong senior group, and I'm just looking for really them to step up like we haven't seen before. We have pitching and a little bit of depth there. Offensively, really top to bottom, we have a strong offensive lineup with our bats, and this year we gained a little bit of depth defensively, which is, I think, a missing piece for us last year with injuries. We really didn't have what I felt like was a complete defensive team, which for me is pretty important. So this year I feel like really all the way around we're pretty solid with some pickups this year and then having just a strong tenured group. I'm looking for them to be pretty competitive.
Great, thank you. Taylor, talk about what you're looking forward to this season.
I'm looking forward to going off through my senior year on a high note because this team has so much talent and so much potential that Coach Katie and Coach Chip have been building off this entire year with all of our practices, and I'm looking forward to having a strong season and hopefully pitching my butt off and helping us get into CIF and win league and go through this entire year strong and spending time with these girls.
Great, thank you. Jaden, talking about, Coach touched about the culture a little bit. Can you describe the culture in your own words?
Yeah, so I think that we have a really special team culture, especially we have such strong leadership this year, and we just have such a special group of girls. Like, we're all so close to each other, and we really play for each other. And Coach Katie touched on being bought in, and that's really been kind of our motto this year, is just being all in every day and choosing to go all out in everything we do as people, as players, and I just think that that's going to help us throughout this season.
Great, thank you. And Paris, can you touch about what makes Trinity League different and special compared to the other leagues out there?
I think Trinity League is very special and stands out because every team in Trinity League is very competitive. That everyone wants to win. I think it definitely prepares everyone for college, mostly D1 playing. I think if we were in a different league, it'd be a lot different, and this league just totally stands out. Everyone just wants to win.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and open up to the media.
All right, this one's for, let's get the players. So Taylor,
Yes.
what's it going to take for JSerra to move up to the next level in the Trinity League? Because it seems like Olu and Mater Dei have, set the standard in recent years.
Definitely.
You guys are on the move.
Yeah.
What's it going to take to make that next step?
That's a good question. So basically, we've been working really hard to become cohesive as a team. I feel like in past years, it's kind of been individuals playing on the field, and this year we're trying to have it so concrete behind the pitcher, behind everything that we do, that even like if an error happens that we know that we can pick it up, because sometimes teams let it like drain on them and that like brings down their energy. And I think we're just trying hard to kind of make everything go together, because I know pitching is important. I know Mater Dei and Olu have great pitching and they have great hitters and they're attacking the zone every step. So we just kind of have been preparing since preseason of what we're expecting when we play those good teams.
And then, Paris, how do you say your last name?
Schwalbe.
Schwab. There you go. I didn't want to mess it up. Your thoughts on that, too? I mean, you guys have been working hard, obviously, to, build the program. Can you guys take the next step this year? Are the playoffs out of the question? Is it something that you guys are really aiming at, or what do you think?
I think the major difference between like last year and this year, we really are bought in to winning this year. And, like, we have a really small program and, like, not a big team, but we're really competitive. We're more competitive this year. And, like she said, like, we're more cohesive and, like, we have a good bond, so that's going to help. And CIF is totally in the question this year.
And then, Jaden, this is your second year with Coach Stith. What's she like to have as a coach? Is she, give me your thoughts on her style and what she brings to JSerra.
Yeah, for sure. So Coach Katie is truly an incredible role model. She's been such a blessing to have as a coach, and I think that especially for us going off to college next year, playing softball in college, it's been so cool to have her and Coach Chip as just role models, as people, as players, and teaching us what it really means to be a good teammate and how to carry ourselves on and off the field. That's just some really valuable advice that she's taught me and all the girls in our program, and we're very, very grateful for that.
You heard them talk a lot about being bought in, but and I'm glad you guys all said that because that means I've been doing something right. We know it now. But I think, as you guys have heard, our mentality is just totally different. And so I think before it was like, oh, cool, if we can win half of our games in Trinity League, like, we're on the right road. And that's not really an option for us this year. And so, our first day out at practice this fall was like, we're going to go after winning Trinity League. Like, that's where we're setting our sights on. And I feel really good about that being a goal because I think that they can do it. I think that we have the depth to do it. Obviously, it's a very competitive league, and we're going to have our work cut out for us, and they all know that. But I think just the mentality changing and changing our approach and our mentality for what we're here to do and not just be okay with trying to win half our games or, trying to not get mercied. That didn't happen at all last year, so we don't talk about that anymore. So it's just a different mentality, and I think that makes all the difference in the world. If we didn't push each other to compete to win Trinity League, I think we wouldn't be as successful. So I think just overall having that mentality that we want to go compete and win is what makes this team really special. They all want to go far. So.
Coach Dan Albano with the Orange County Register. Have you looked much at Division II as far as how the playoffs might work? I know it's with the way the playoffs are now with all the different schools and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to tell, especially early in the year. But do you have any thoughts on what the kind of route you'd have to get to make it to D2?
I've looked a little bit, and it was kind of spoken about earlier in the coaches panel. I think that we have our work cut out for us in Trinity League, and I think if we carve out the right path through league and we compete, we can really go in and beat anybody. We got moved up again this year. We were in 4 2 years ago. We went to 3 last year, and I was thinking we would be in 3 this year. We barely went 500, but kudos to these kids for what they've done. So I wasn't necessarily expecting to go to 2, but we are, and there's definitely strong competition. So it's not going to be easy. Do I hope and think that we can go compete in a postseason? Absolutely. A lot of those teams that have been moved up to Division I, like San Juan Hills got moved up, like a lot of these teams we play traditionally and we will play in the first part of this season are in 2 or in even 1 now. And so I believe we can compete with a lot of these teams, and I haven't looked at the route that we're going to have to take. I try not to dive into those details. I firmly believe, again, we have the talent to do a lot. And so if we do well in Trinity League and we can carry that momentum into postseason, and staying healthy is going to be really important for us. And, it was talked about earlier, you play a tough schedule all year. It's very real, and it is hard. You don't have a game you can really take off. So going into postseason, us staying healthy will be important. But I haven't dove too much into the detail. I definitely believe in this group, though.
Right. So obviously you guys win league, you're going to be going to Division II.
Correct.
Or if you get top 3, that would put you in the playoffs. It just starts like last year with the way the D2 bracket looked, where you had some great teams and there's no at-large entries in that bracket.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so first things first is going to be getting top 3, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Coach, can you talk a little bit about some of the you have some freshmen listed as kind of newcomers to watch. Do you have an impact freshman or an impact transfer?
Probably our biggest impact player for this year will be Alexis Soto. So she's a transfer and she's a catcher. Catching has been a need for us, and so it's been a blessing to have her come in. She's a junior. She's committed to Liberty. Great work ethic. Has a bat. Is a talented catcher for us. So that was a big pickup. We've had to, unfortunately or fortunately, move different people into that spot who that's not their primary position, and asking someone to catch when they don't really want to do that or do that full time is a lot to ask. So picking her up was huge. It gave us a lot of depth, and I think has been a need for us. So, and not only is it a warm body, it's someone who's extremely talented and who's a leader and who will step into a big role for us.
And you're going to probably, good and bad, of course, you might not have Sarah Shaw for a little bit. She's doing well in basketball. That's a good thing, obviously, but how's that dynamic? Is she your only basketball player?
I have two basketball players. Willa Poplowski is the other one. She's been in and out of, I think, playing this season with injuries. She's a sophomore, and she plays outfield and pitches for us as well. So both of them are starters for us. They're both impact players for us. So it's a challenge not to have them full time. I mean, I see them for a few minutes for warm-ups basically, and then they're going off to basketball. But I'm supportive in what they do. Sarah, especially, basketball is her primary sport, and I know that she's a phenomenal athlete at that. So it's high school. It's important that they do multiple sports if they're able to do so. But it is, it impacts us, and I think them not having them full time, and it's a miss, but they do the best they can to balance both, and that's all that I can ask of them. It's hard to play one sport. Playing two is a whole nother ask at a very academically challenging school. So I'm proud of them for the work they put into it. They put in a ton of hours. Basketball even practices at nights a lot of times. So if they are able to stay with us, they're going to practice, and it's a longer day. So it's been a miss not having them, but I know they'll jump in right when they can. They may have basketball and then come to our games or come to practice after. So they balance it, and we'll miss them a little bit, but as soon as we get them back, we'll be happy to have them back. We have a soccer player too, so.
Oh, who's that?
Kaylani Casters on varsity soccer as a freshman this year. So we have 3 of them that are competing right now.
So they go for that's great for the multi-sport. You guys are making that work,
Yeah.
the multi-sport athletes at JSerra.
Yeah, I believe for the most part, everyone supports that. And we, as coaches, we communicate really well. And spring sports, it feels like we get the short end of the stick sometimes because we're late. So I always want them to be with their other sport when they're in season, which inevitably is before us. So sometimes it feels like, shoot, I don't have them. But at the same time, I understand that that's important to them, and I want them to do it. And I think they're learning far more valuable things from doing multiple sports than me missing them. It's at the end of the day, there's more important things. So it's definitely part of our culture, and we try to encourage it when they can do it.
I'll keep growing if I wanted to ask. So Taylor, your coach was saying that last year you pitched. You weren't completely healthy, but are now. What fill us in on the journey you were with? Was it where you were injured and things like that?
It was my shoulder last year. I just had to take time off because that summer it was very overused by my travel team. So I had to take maybe like a month at most off because it was basically run down to the bare bone, basically. And I had to go to PT twice a week, and I was leaving practice early quite a bit because I had to make those appointments, and it took a while. Got back, was healthy by the last couple weeks of our season, and then good for summer, and now I'm fully back. Still have PT appointments, still get a lot of cupping. It's not the most fun thing, but it happens. It's part of the game, but I'm definitely glad to be back. I missed playing high school softball. I transferred to JSerra last year to play high school softball here, and then I didn't play for a little bit, which was weird. But yeah, I'm excited. It's good now. There's bad days and good days. Most of the time it's good. So we're hoping for smooth gliding this year.
Are you going to have any limitations on how much you can pitch?
No. I can pitch till and my arm falls off. Like,
We're not going to go that route.
we're not going to go there,
Your
but
college coach might have one.
I was like, we don't want to go there, but if needed, I can definitely
All right.
go there.
I mean, as with any pitcher, you have to keep an eye on them. I mean,
We're not going to
they
say
can
we're
throw
in
a lot
pain.
more in softball than in baseball, but you know, you have to watch them. Most of us have, you know, a primary pitcher. It's pretty rare you have two like really
Right.
strong pitchers. So you have to be really aware of where they're at and sometimes read their body language. Like, you're telling me you're okay, but I don't think you're okay. So I'm grateful we have a few others that are prepared to step in, and you know, I want to. If I have an option not to use her at times, I'm not going to use her at times. So, you know, she is a phenomenal pitcher, and we're going to look for her to do a lot of things. But anyone's arm as a pitcher can, you know, she threw for us a little bit last year and hadn't pitched for like a year. And, you know, it's hard on your body if you're not used to that. So I think she'll be fine, but we'll watch it.
All right. Thank you.
Katie, can you talk to us about being a female head coach in the Trinity League and also in softball? How is that role of empowering our young female student athletes?
I think through my career I've been coached by mostly males, and so when I look back and think of what can I do differently or what would I have wanted to do different if I had a female coach, I definitely think it's probably a little bit easier for me to connect with the players because I played, and so I can relate to a lot of things, and it's easier for me to ask things of them that I know that I've done or that I know are possible. I was welcome to this league. You know, Jessica was here last year, but with all males here now in Trinity League, they're extremely supportive of me. It never feels weird or uncomfortable. They, you know, look at me as a competitor, but and also a peer as a coach. I hope with these kids that I can, you know, just help them to become stronger women in life, in their faith, as athletes. I, you know, tend to be a stronger female in a lot of the things that I do. And so I try to teach them to be confident in who they are, you know, have goals and have just an identity in something greater than this, and teach them that they can really go do anything they set their mind to. I have a little bit of a business background too in my previous career, so being able to share some of that with them, that there's more to softball. I think I can help give them a lot of perspective on that. So I try most days. I don't ever say that really there's a lot of things I can do different. I think that a lot of our male coaches do a phenomenal job connecting with our players. I had phenomenal coaches who were males who did a phenomenal job connecting relationally. So I think maybe just the experience piece is different for me, having played. But I think that we have great coaches, and a lot of male coaches are able to do just as an effective job as high school coaches.